Web scraping is not only web scraping. You see, when you scrape a website for data, like for instance this one, then you get the content you're interested in here, self-evolving AI agents. Then you get the paragraphs and the factual information in that particular article, right? Goes down to about here. And then you've got this stuff, right? Which is not interesting. It's my biography. It's on every single article in my system. I have 400 blogs in my system. Why would I want this in every single RAG training data snippet that I ever create? I don't, right? In addition, here's a shitload of irrelevant information, right? In addition, this is a shitload of irrelevant information. Now, if I just crawled and scraped this website and inserted it as like a raw HTML without even removing the HTML tags, then let's have a look at how many OpenAI token that becomes. Let's see. And return open count of that raw HTML. Scrape. Let me edit this sentence. And return OpenAI API token count for the raw HTML. Now, of course, this is using a Hyperlambda generator that just like downloads the entirety of the thing and counts the OpenAI token. 9,582 tokens. Now, if we simply transform that into Markdown, right? Let's try that prompt instead. So now we're asking it to do the exact same thing, but instead of taking the HTML, it's going to transform it into Markdown and then return the token count of the Markdown. Now we're down to 3,668 tokens, right? So we started out at 9,500, and now we're down to 3,600. But we can even go further, right? Scrape now, scrape transform the first article element you find into Markdown and return OpenAI token count. You see, if I inspect this page here now, right, then I will see that the article content is inside of an article HTML element, right? Which means that I can tell my Markdown scraper thing to, hey man, I don't give a shit about the navbar. I don't give a shit about, you know, this shit. I don't give a shit about, you know, these things here. I don't give a shit about this thing here. I'm only interested in Markdown representation of the first article HTML element you find in the HTML. Let's count tokens. So we started at 9,500 tokens. We went down to 3,668. Let's see how many tokens we end up at now. Down to 2,000. So we've basically gone down from 9,500 tokens in our worst case scenario solution down to 2,000 tokens. Now, why is this important? Well, because when your RAG, AI agent or chatbot is looking up data, right, then that thing has a, you know, context window, maximum tokens it can deal with as RAG data at the same time. So if I now, for instance, go through this one and I turn on VSS search and I tell it to, I want to create an AI chatbot. What this basically does, it actually does VSS search and it shows me the distance here, 0.41, create AI chatbot. That was obviously its most important hit. However, this one is at 952 tokens, right? Now, if that one was at 5,000 tokens, then I wouldn't have room for all of these guys below, right? So sometimes the prompt will ensure that not the exact most accurate, you know, parts of your training data are sent up first. But if that part of your training data is too large to allow for adding additional training snippets on top below that as context before you're invoking the LLM, then you don't have room for the actual information where the answer to the user's questions actually is, right? So the more garbage data you can remove during website scraping while you are creating RAG data, the more accurate and factual the end result, the AI chatbot or AI agent simply will become. It's just math, really. And by doing it a little bit intelligent like this instead, of like just like taking the whole HTML, and I mean even removing all the HTML. Let's try that, see that if that works. Scrape and return the text content of all HTML elements. Return the OpenAI API token count of all text elements inside the body element. I'm not entirely sure if this is going to work. Let's try it out. Right, so even if you only do the text, I mean, okay, then you lose all the, you know, hyperlinks, and you're still at 6,164 tokens. So you're actually still preserving information if you're targeting your website scraper to go to specific HTML elements and only extracting them. Remember, that guy produced 2,000 tokens. So even this thing is 3 times as large in size. And the smaller that size becomes, the higher quality AI agent you end up getting at the end. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.